Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Focus Show right here on Shadow TV. Of course, we've been away for far too long and we've resumed. Hopefully, we'll get to do this a lot more than what we had before. My name is Shamun Bako, and we welcome all of you to Shadow TV. Wherever you are, at your homes and various places, welcome. Because the communities happens to be the populace where you can find all tribes that forms part of the Zongo community. Just quite recently, fairly recently, there was a chaos that two groupings came out publicly exchanging firearms, which brought a lot of public outcry. Today, we're here to talk about all of that and look at the way forward. To help us do the discussion, we have one of our revered chief, who happens to be the Chidomhini of Suhum, Wangara chief of the Ayawaso community, double as the P.R.O to the Council of Zongo Chiefs. He's a father for all. Of course, he's been criticized a couple of times, but he's still standing on his ground to help change the narrative of the Zongo and Muslim community. Help me welcome Sarki Umar Baba Issah. Welcome to the show, Sarki Umar Baba Issah.
Thank you so much.
And I'm sure we're going to have a fruitful discussion. Inshallah. Just as you've heard me through the intro, the Nima man will be chaos. You have been in the community perhaps since inception. Your parents have been there, you've been there, you've seen it all. I mean, the name Nima brings a lot of the international community. Of course, people have come out of the community, and you know, I don't want to say bad people, but you know, some not too good, and the name out there is not that too good. You've been a part of the community. Tell us more about the Nima Mawabi community. Growing up in that community, how was it? Let's begin with that.
A'udhu billahi Sami'u alim minash shaitanir rajim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, we thank Him for His grace and mercy and guidance. Yes, of course, Nima Mamubi are among the biggest or largest Zongo communities in this country, with a very huge populations. The two areas combined will run to the populations of over 240 to 300,000. So that means that it's cosmopolitan in setting, and most everyone is there. Now, Nima had a good history. At times, the negative aspect tried to portray the Nima Mamubi community.
Sort of shadow
the good things
the
that
good, exactly.
we have. Most of when you come to Islam, we have outstanding Muslim scholars. The community had produced very many of them who are in fact helping the socio-economic, religious situation of the community. Definitely, like any part of the world, where there are good people, there's an incident of some pickpocket people who will try to do things that would displace the whole world. But that doesn't mean that the totality of the community could be portrayed as a bad community. If we have that perception, let's just to say it is wrong. There are other parts of the world where we have similar situations. We are not defending what happened. But of course it has happened, and therefore people have the right to express their viewpoints, or must have their perception, positive and negative, whatever it is. Like you rightly mentioned, well, all of a sudden, there are two groups, rival groups, of course, in the community who, I would say, do not understand issues to themselves, whatever I would say. And they threw them We have this violence, of course. It really happened.
It really happened. We're going to get to that point. Yeah. But I just wanted myself and the viewers out there to have a better understanding how the community, the growth of the communities. You just mentioned that growing up and how things were back then were so good. You got good people coming out of the community. You've got things a bit lower in terms of activities and all of that. There were a lot of good people coming out of the community. What then changes? How are the youth reacting differently?
Well, of course, like I said earlier on, when you look at the spectrum of the community, Nima Mamobi, as I mentioned earlier on, there are many people in. You have Islamic scholars, you have businessmen who are doing genuine business in the community. When you come to even trade, Nima had now the best West African markets. So far, of course, ECOWAS market, Mahmoud market, it is there. Every Wednesday, large number of people come there to do marketing. So you could see they do their business and go home safely. You go to Nima right in the morning and to the evening, you see many. And so we also come. When you come to the area of sports, the community has put so many sportsmen who have contributed to the sporting aspect of this country. Nima, Mamobi, there are good people there, and they are still contributing.
What changes then?
Well, of course, like I said, you see, the mistake we make, we want to take one incident and judge the whole community. This is an unfortunate perception. We take one incident like it has not ever happened elsewhere from our community when we judge the whole communities. Yes, we have people who have come. Once it is a place where you have so many people coming from left and right, good people will come in, and as well as bad people also come. Look, when you look at what is happening, the indigents of Nima Mamobi, those who were born and brought up in this community, the statistics of those who are doing those worst in the community are very few. It's the people who come from outside into the community. So they are most of them are encouraging this problem and issue. So if it is so, then what do we do as a community leaders? That's the important thing. No, chiefs have been blamed, other community leaders have been blamed, wrongly or rightly, I don't know. Because we sense, the chief sense this danger in the community. They have a series of meetings with the police. How do we protect this community? How do we enhance development in that community? The records are there. The highest structure of the police is the divisional police command within the area. We have several meetings with there, to the extent that we suggested the establishment of police posts within the community. You see, where the incident took place is exactly where we proposed the police post must be located. The very place, because we knew most of the time there are such incidents around those areas. So one, we proposed to the municipal assembly of Ayawaso North to try and cooperate with the police, establish police posts there. And it was done. The police was provided. Then it came to the point that the police post must be inaugurated or commissioned. There comes a problem. But the peace officers were saying that the place where the post is located is not so hygienic. There's a poor sanitation around that area. For this, held the commissioning of this post. Lord and behold, we are in that state when this thing happened. It happened exactly just opposite where the police post was. So this is what we have seen. We do not sleep. We have not seen it.
So what it means is that you've anticipated that.
We anticipated some of these, and we cry, and we write, we petition, we'll tell the police enforcement, let's do something about this period, because those who gather there from time to time, there's a problem with those things.
You mentioned you've anticipated that some of these issues are going to be cropping up. let me understand the psyche of the youth of that community, because it's very rare to have seen two rival groups coming onto the street and be exchanging firearms among themselves, shooting in the full glare of the public. What is happening to the psyche of these youth who perhaps engaging in some of these activities?
We foresaw these things coming. We had several discussions with the law enforcement agents, to the extent that these two groups, the leadership of two groups, the Bombo group, the Kumoji group, were invited to sign a police bond. You get me? So we thought that once they signed the bond, there will be a surveillance on them. Do you get me? You see, I mean, I don't want to go to indulge in game blaming others. But then once you realize that these people are havoc, they are incident, they could cause a problem in the community, you were informed and you signed bond. They were signed. Bond was signed by them to be on good behavior. Then we thought about signing the bond. There will be a surveillance of them, the activities, what they do in the community. Lord and behold, and this was happened. Which means the community, I mean, the leaders have done their work by informing the law enforcement agency what they're expected to do to help eradicate these issues within our community.
It's not really the only issue. If you look at the community, spanning across board, there is the proportionate use of illegal drugs. You talk about the weed. There's an allegation that it is now fairly frequently becomes where trades of hard drugs like cocaine and all of that. Young people are now engaged in such activities, and it seems the community isn't doing anything. And you've had the chiefs have had their fair share of their blame that you're not saying anything.
Listen. When the community, the leadership, the chiefs are able to sit with the municipal chief executives and say, look, this area is a danger, it's a crossman. Try to do something. Establish a police post. One. Okay. Because when the police post is within that area, but at least it will scare some people doing something. Because the Bakingota, the so-called Bakingota, the distance from Bakingota to Nima police station, Kotwa police is too far. That is why we sat down and give the proposal that, look, this must be established. When you have those things, it's visible, the policemen were there, at least it will prevent something from happening. So we did our part as a chiefs. We encouraged, and the municipal assembly, I also know, responded positively by erecting the police post. But they coming to commissioning, putting the people to look at it. Then that has not been done. Do you blame the chiefs? They done that, they go to the top, they explain everything to them. The thing is there, you know. And then the funny aspect of it is that, you know, the divisional police commander is also part of the municipal security council. What do you wait until they have erected the police post and you come to say that where the location of the facility is not ideal? And then people who are there, we even see that as an insult to the community. But you know the location. You have the GPRTs running their trade. You have people having their stores.
But really, the place it's unhygienic. Don't you see it's unhygienic? But this is a lot of, I mean, the
place, it's a first and first, you know. When you have the facilities, where is the work of the municipal assembly, both east and north? It is clean, isn't it? You see, it is not something that should be a big deal. So since we have
have you spoken to the leadership of the two assemblies to ensure that the place is kept clean for the community to erect their police posts?
What are the excesses or present with the leadership of the two assemblies?
Okay.
What do we tell them?
Okay.
We tell them about the security of the area. We tell them about the sanitation of this. They invite us. We also invite them to a meeting. What we want them, the cooperation between us and them. All this. So when someone neglects his work and then the blame is squarely placed on others, which is not fair. Ours as leaders of the community to cooperate the law enforcement agency. to advise them, to tell them what to do so that we have a peace in the community. If we have gone so far to say that establish a police post within the area, that has been done, it's not commissioned. We don't have the men to put them. Ours is to keep on pressing. And it's a security matter. This is what people should know. It's not a political matter that you go at the, I mean, what is it, in an open forum, telling them that you have done this with the police, you said that this will come. It is a purely security matter. It is a confidential matter. What we have been doing with the police, we don't come public and say this and that, but it is somebody who should try to implement what is before him.
Of course, it is someone who should try to implement what is before him. The show is live on Shadow 2 TV. You can share with your family and friends. Chief, you might want to take some water so that we can quench our thirst and ensure that we are on good track. If you just join us, we're here with Sarki Umar Baba Issah. We're discussing the aftermath of the Nima Momobi chaos, the way forward, of course. And we're trying to digest and establish a fact that despite all these issues, we should be able to have a way forward and be able to, as it were, have a very peaceful and coexisting community, so to speak. You can drop your comments on the comment box. We'd like to read them live as far as the program is concerned. And then you can also share, like I mentioned, keep sharing so that this message can go to as many audience as possible. Sarki Umar Baba Issah, when this incident happened, there's been series of meetings. You've met with the police force, you've met with the youth, and you've met with the various assembly members within these two various communities. Let's begin with the police force. What were the discussions you have? Box them up. What was the discussion with the police force?
The discussion, you were there, we had a press conference with them, you know, tell our peace of mind. We are ready and prepared to cooperate with them. They should also try as much as possible to intensify patrol within their communities. They should intensify and strengthen their presence in the community so that the people will see them, and also they have more information than some of us.
Okay.
The police have more information, though information going to them up and down. The information that they will claim they have, they should try as much to implement those information. You know,
a lot of people were arrested, I guess.
I was told a lot were arrested. Well, that is the first step. Then it is important that their presence is felt.
Some people have called for the raiding of the community. The police should come at one time at dawn and raid all these, you know, bases,
I think
ghettos,
we are not
be able to get the ills of
we are not there yet. You are not there because when this incident happened, there were a lot of suggestions and proposals. But of course, chaos and such an incident in Nima, it's not only related to a situation that had happened. It happened with the faith-based organizations. It happens in the political situations. It happened with the social issues. So what we are now proposing, there must be a comprehensive plan of action on the ground. It's not what we see in the papers, because insulting leaders, blaming people, that is not going to solve any problem.
Why do you think that people are blaming, especially the chief? Why do you think all the blames gets to you?
It's out of ignorance. They don't know what the Zongo chiefs are doing. Some deliberately, some out of whatever reason we know. Look, if you look at the work
that they expect too much from you.
No, I'm telling the traditional councils, let's say also traditional councils, who are entitled for royalties.
Of course.
We are entitled for some allowances and everything. What difference have they brought in their communities? And the Zongo chiefs have not been able to do so. At the traditional councils who are on the royalties, state royalties,
of course,
who have been covered by everything, what differences have they brought in a community? I will set an example, for instance, when you go to Medina today, you know, under the late Chief Said Ricardo, what he did for the community. You can't compare him with any chief of any traditional council in the community. So after establishing the community, he created spaces for mosques, for schools, for entertainment, for what have you. The extent of even creating a cemetery, which not only he created for people of Medina, but that the whole Accra benefiting. He's not a chief, he's not a leader in the community. You go up to Issah, where he had given a scholarship to over 70 people. He's a chief within the community. So what the Zongo chiefs are out of ignorance, people are accusing. And I'm asking them to look at the records of the traditional councils, also traditional councils, Laos traditional councils, Nungwa traditional council, all the traditional councils, what have they been able to achieve for their communities? But with absence of those facilities, the logistics are trying, and yet people will try accusing people on the chiefs. Are the chiefs entitled to any allowance? Even a phone call, maybe they rely on themselves.
You should call for
deliberate
integration to be part of the.
Every member of Zongo belongs to one kind of ethnic group or the other. Hausa, Wangara, whatever. So, how many contributions have they been doing to support their chiefs? Let's put that aside. Let's come to the reality. When and where the youth or whoever they are, because the security situation is a shared responsibility. It isn't only in the head of chiefs. The imam, the chief, the youth leaders, of course, the security themselves. Then, what proposals or records that we have from the youth to say that we have proposed number 1, number 2, number 3, and the chiefs, they don't attend to those requests or have not failed to act on those. So what I'm saying is totally, that's what I say. People don't understand. You establish an institution, you don't support the institution in any way. You establish it and you want them to perform. And that's why I cited the traditional councils. Traditional councils who are entitled to royalties, who are being paid. What difference have those chiefs brought even to their communities? Look at him, Look, the closest one we have, let's say, also traditional council. The institutions there is either also Presec, this Presec. It is established by religious institutions and not the traditional councils. That's what I want to find out. What differently the traditional council have done to their people when the Zongo chiefs are not able to do it. They are on royalties. They are on this, they are on that, and that. But chiefs are under difficult circumstances, difficult conditions. They are working to promote the development of that community. So I would say at times it's a sheer ignorance, or we have a culture. We have wrong culture. If you don't attack the leader in a community, you are not a champion. If you don't insult a chief, if you don't have any reason, you insult him, then you are a champion in the community. Otherwise, it is uncalled for. What we do, what we can do is we are doing our best under the circumstances.
But you do take criticism when people criticize you.
I am
positively.
Positively. What I'm saying, at times, even that one is not there. I'll tell you, Baba Issah, I'm not special at anyway, but I've been able, through the cooperation with the chief, we established Sum Islamic Secondary School.
Of course, it's a
well-known
factor. Yes, of course.
It is a fact.
Yes.
And then today it has a population of 2,000. I started with 100,000. We could do as well. But you see, it is not almost everybody or every chief you can just put a left hand on him, because it is the business. What are the facilities? Even a common assembly member, excuse me to use the words, sorry for this comment, the assemblyman is entitled to TNT.
Of course.
Assemblyman elected is entitled to settle.
He gets some allowance from the municipal assembly, of course.
What about the chief? The chief is entitled to nothing, but he's performing. He's performing. So with due respect to the assemblyman, by saying, they are a very important part of the structure. So it is about the ignorance or by blaming. Blaming for what?
You've met with the youth after the incident. What did you discuss with them, and what did they tell you?
Still, what we are saying, it is let us cooperate with each other. blaming each other will not solve this problem. They must try to know the role of the chiefs in the community. And today, I'll tell you, it's not easy to even organize a meeting without even giving refreshment, even Coca-Cola for people to drink. It is a different thing. Do you think you can gather first, second, and third? The first, I just don't know. No. But under these things, we are trying to improve the situation that we have, our best. We are doing our best.
What did the youth told you? What did they tell you?
Well, they said they are willing to cooperate. They are to the community. The name of their community has been tarnished, and so forth. They are ready to cooperate. And like what I'm saying, Mr. Shamun, you see, we are at times reactionary to
not
issues.
Proactive.
And then we don't offer. You see, what has happened, I am saying that we need to have a body. This body must be a committee. But the composition of that committee, you must have a psychologist, sociologists, Islamic scholars, retired Muslim army officers, Zongo officers. If you want to create violent-free Zongo, this issue must be looked at in totality by this expert. It's not about a matter of Nima Zongo. It happens elsewhere. So that they will come out, with a kind of a proposals, the role of each one in the community, the role of the chiefs and imams, the role of the youth, so that that will look at the whole issue, propose short-term measures, propose long-term measures, and medium-term measures, and the long-term, so that we'll be able to discuss those issues. It's not a issue that can be with the emotions we can solve. People must sit down and study the whole thing. You will look at our child care situation, child care, parental care. When you don't take care of your child, and that very child does something wrong, you blame the chief. Child care is very important to what we do. Education and training programs in our community. It's an issue that must be considered to be looked at holistically. To look at our Zongos, how do we do to resolve this matter? We have all the stakeholders must be there.
But the reason is disheartening to me as a youth, because you go to these communities and we're talking about who are going to take over from our fathers like you when you're gone. I'm sorry to say that, but and you look at the community. Of course, you've got, like we mentioned, you've got people who are into education, into craftsmanship, who are learning skills, training, and all of that. But you look at the vast majority of the youth into something highly negative, something that when you look into the future, you realize that we've got a lot of work to do. Sometimes doesn't that bother you as a parent and as a chief, and what should be the way forward? How do we start changing the whole narrative of parenting, of community leadership, of chiefs back then who are respected, who can call the shot, who can say, no, don't put this building here. This betting centers is going to let our youth go into negativities, or enter into something bad. Don't do this, so that we can change the narrative. We can have a community where structures and laws, bylaws are obeyed. Can we have that? Some time ago we were having that.
I know this can be done, and that is why I proposed. So we live in the modern scientific age. You don't rush doing things, excuse me to say, by heart. You need to plan. If things have gone wrong for so many years, it is not just one ad hoc measure that will solve that problem. That's what I'm proposing, that there must be a body in place to look holistically the situation in Zongo. It is not only what happened in other Zongo communities. It has been going on. What about every West that happened? The name is Baba Issah, this is the names of Muslims are appearing. Any crime committed, you see our names there, you know. I mean, you have to look at the whole thing and then see people who are trained, who have an experience, to be able to come out with the positive ideas. This is what we want to do. If this is done with the cooperation of everyone, what you are saying, then we look about the parental care, the child neglect. You see, that is the problem we have. The child neglect, parental care, you know, and then of course we also look at, you know, training of children. How do we support the vulnerable children in our community? It's all these things that are there, you know, but we leave them and attacking innocent people. It's just like there's a fire outbreak, you leave the fire and throw water on the smoke. This most of the time what we are doing. This attack is unnecessary, you know, because it has no any other things, it doesn't add any value. The value is that bring up the proposal, concrete proposal, implementable proposals that can be used to develop the community. I believe this is the end.
And some time ago, I was having a discussion. I came to you, you're telling me that, okay, you're planning to have an alternative means of, you know, putting the youth into work, into something productive, where a youth who is into merchandise, a business, skills, be it a tailor, organizer, you find a way of getting youngsters who are idle to come and learn the trade from these people.
Well,
how do we
I was so done, Municipal Assembly. We have a meeting now, we set up a committee now to look at these issues. Look at the issue of watch committee, look at this education and training, look at the issue of child neglect, and all those things. We have set up the committee to be able to come up with a proposal how we can organize ourselves, those who are not in trade, because it's not only being at the ministry or the military or police service that is where only you can get a job done. The job can be done, it can be secure anywhere. You can constitute yourself into an institution that you can serve yourselves. So it can be done with a cooperation with all. You know, after all, we have artisans in the community, we have artisans in the communities. Those who can, we can link them with this youth, go and learn these trades and be skilled in whatever you are doing. So that program is now ongoing. A committee has been put together to look at this. But I'm talking in the nationwide, you know, the Zongo committee, we need to have, you know, a kind of a proposals, arrangement, action plan that will look at all those things. Though. So at a little play corner, we can do just as we've been able to do this high school at home and other places with the community. It is functioning, it is helping people. So it can be done elsewhere.
If you just join us, you're still watching us live on Facebook, Shadow 2 TV, and the topic is the aftermath of Nima Mammobi chaos, the way forward. We're here with the revered Zongo Chief, Serki Umar Baba Issah, the P.R.O to the Council of Zongo Chief. We're discussing the matters, we're trying to find a solution. Perhaps, if not, we'll raise the talks and then together with all of us who are from the Zongo community, we'll keep talking about these issues, and then with the hope that someday, sometime in the future, things are going to be better off. With the latter part of the whole discussion, Chief, so you've had meetings with the youth, you've had meetings with the police service. I'm sure in the community we have government representatives over there, the two municipal assemblies. You've talked with them, and of course the MPs who are representing the communities at the parliament. Policies and proposals that can also help elevate the community in terms of business, in terms of work for the youth and all of that. What have you been thinking in that regard, and be able to also relay the proposal to these representative of these two communities at the parliament?
Yes, of course, it's the same thing that our stand is very clear, not even today, even before this incident happened. We felt the need that jobs openings must be in the community, we must have them in our communities, That is, get a skills training program for our youth. On the security, having watch committee, and then importantly, how do we involve parents in taking full care of the responsibility of their children? And of course, within the municipal assembly, there are so many committees under the municipal assembly that they are going to be interested with the responsibility of working on these issues. But like I said, it's a shared responsibility. It is not only in the doorstep of the chiefs, but also everybody who has an interest to see the development of this community can bring up, suggestions and proposals. Our doors are widely open so that we can discuss those issues,
Of course, we're definitely going to have a lot more discussion on those issues and be able to have a solution. Now, let's go to our Facebook audience. A lot of you have been sharing messages. We've got Alhaji Malik Amiro Faila. He happens to be one of the sponsors of the Sharubutu TV. The Sharubutu TV, thanks for bringing this topic to us. It's really of important. Thank you. Awalu Angulu Audu. Inshallah, Nima will be fixed. That's a hope. Of course, we pray, and in fact, it's been fixed, and it shall be fixed. And happy son, Sariki, may Allah bless you. This is for you, Chief Moro. We've got Hajj Mulki, mashallah, Chief, God bless you. Please, Abdullah Muhammad, please. Now, I know the SHS, together with the program he did at the tertiary he went to, alhamdulillah, thank you. SHS you went to, somebody wants to know. Senior high school. Maybe back then they were in senior high school, O level, whatever level.
Well, I was at a commercial college at Koforidua, School of Journalism, School of Public Health, University of Ghana.
Okay, University of Ghana, Journalism School of Public Health. That's why he. So keep sharing your messages, and we shall be reading them live. And as far as the program is concerned, we're about wrapping up. But as we're wrapping up, of course, we should definitely talk about the way forward. But before we talk about the way forward, let's try to open up the whole discussion about the entire Zongo community. How do you see the Zongo community evolving?
Is the Zongo community evolving? To me, had the brightest future.
Mashallah.
No doubt about that. No matter how you look at the Zongo communities, we are doing very well. Because some years back, in our homes, very few people you can see that can read and write. In our homes, this time around, we have the first degree holders, second degree holders, engineers, medical officers, and of course, gradually the Zongo community is changing. Then the perception of some people, see, we must try also to see things in the modern time when we have things. And one incident, though no matter how bad it is, you can't paint the whole community as if nothing good is happening in that community. Nima, Mamubi, there are scholars. At the same time, when you go to other countries of the world, America, New York, there are ghettos and other things. They are there. We are not encouraging them, but we must look at the contribution where people are making, in our community to promote the good name of Zongo. We should look at that and encourage that. Not things that are so negative. We place them. People are doing well. Like I said, you agree with me? No. Can you count the graduates from the Zongo community now? Can you count the engineers? We are still producing them. And they are going to raise the flag of Zongo higher and higher. So this incident of this thing should not, you cannot take that and like watch all the good things of the community, Nima or Mamubi. They are doing well. We're not defending them. It's a society. We'll continue to see those things, not even at Nima, at other places as well, you know. But I have hope, you know. I have hope that this community will go better and better. Once upon a time, if you look at even the parliamentarians that we are producing, it's a gradual process. Change behavioral change, attitudinal change, community change, it takes a time. You know, once upon a time, we come and see a new community. I have a hope that the youth coming, the other people coming are going to make it brighter and brighter. I have hope, inshallah, Zongo community will shine.
Of course, Zongo community, we shall make Zongo proud. Unfortunately, we've got to leave it here, and we had a fruitful discussion. I want to say thank you for coming. I hope we could expand it more, but we'll leave it to the audience to also continue with the discussion at the very time. You want to have a last word? So.
Well, my best wishes to all our chiefs, National Chief Imam, who has laid a strong foundation for the development of Zongo communities, and also the youth, our youth. They should not be discouraged. They should do the best and help us to develop Zongo the best way. And Alhaji Angulu, I commend you for your good efforts in trying to organize the youth of Nima, you know, for development. And we support you and continue to give you the backing to be able to do. Any other person can organize such meetings, you know, of how do we move the community forward. And the chiefs, I know, are ready to come and give that support to that efforts. The effort is what is for everybody to be part of what we're doing.
I want to say thank you. We appreciate the time this evening with us. My name is Shamun Bako. God willing, sometime next week, this day, we shall be meeting with another exciting program. My name is Shamun Bako. Do have a good evening. Assalamu alaikum.